Hi everyone, I'm Rajarajeshwari, a chartered accountant, cost accountant, and a company secretary. And in today's session, we will be seeing the topics acceptance of deposits, registration of charges, and LLP Act. So, all we will have a quick revision of all those things. So, first, acceptance of deposits. So, we should know what is deposit. So, deposit, if I say, it includes the money by way of deposit or loan or in any other form. It is an inclusive definition and it also specifies what are all excluded. So it does not include. You will find that it is not include such categories of amount as may be prescribed. And when I say it includes any money, when you analyze the definition, you will find that it is deposit, loan, or any other form should have to be considered. And the time bound, they would have specified what is the time limit within which it should have been repaid. Then it is secured or unsecured. And it also may be accepted in joint names, but the restriction is that it cannot be more than 3. Here it is not more than 3 persons. So if Mr. A, B, and C, maximum, they can be the joint holders. And as far as deposit is concerned, I can nominate either as either or survivor, or I can nominate a person who can accept the deposit. And since deposit I'm collecting money, the company is collecting money, interest is payable, right? And if I want to pre-close a deposit, even that is possible, or foreclosure. That is before the time limit. That is also possible. If you ask me a question, if a private company can accept deposits, yes, it can accept deposits only from its members. And similarly, public company, it fulfills certain parameters. Now let us quickly go through what are all the various questions that were tested for the students. Now read this question. Define the term deposit. I will highlight what are all the important points that you should have to consider and comment with the relevant provisions that the following amount received by the company will be considered as a deposit or not. So you have to mention whether it is a deposit or whether it is not considered as a deposit. 5 lakhs raised by Rishi Limited through issue of non-convertible debenture, not constituting a charge on the assets of the company and listed on a recognized stock exchange as per applicable regulations made by SEBI. Then second question, 2 lakhs received from Mr. T, an employee of a company who's drawing annual salary of lakh and 50,000 under a contract of employment with the company in the nature of non-interest bearing security deposit. Then amount of 3 lakhs received by a private company from a relative of a director declared by the depositor as out of gift received from his mother. So this is the question. So you have to solve one after the other. So first, for defining the deposit, you have to first give the definition. See, first it is definition. And second, you have to explain this. What is a convertible, non-convertible debenture? So is it a deposit or not? Put it in the comments. Yes, I could see Gayatri, Neetu. See, specifically, what are all considered as deposits and what are all not considered as deposits has been specified, right? So let us see the thing. It is through issue of a company as per thing, it is considered, is it considered or not considered, that you should have to specify. It is not considered as a deposit. Constituting a charge on the assets of the company and listed on a stock exchange, that is not considered. Then second problem, it is drawing an annual salary of lakh and 50,000. Now what is the loan salary is 1,50,000, but he has received from T who's drawing the thing, deposit receipt is 2 lakhs. So more than the salary, he has received the deposits. So in that case, since the amount is more than the amount of salary, that is considered as a deposit. So there you should be very clear what is the salary and what is the amount that is accepted as deposits. Then tax received by a private company from a relative of a director declared by the depositor as out of gift received from his mother. So again, that is not considered as deposit because there is a rule that he should have to disclose it in the declaration. The person should have to declare in writing. Here, either it is from the director or any other person, he should have to declare. And since that has been declared, see the wording declared is very important. The director declared in the board's report, so that will not be considered as a deposit. Is this clear? Am I audible now? Okay. Now we'll move on to the next question. Greenwood Limited, which is registered as a startup company, registered under the Companies Act, has received an amount of 20 lakhs and 10 lakhs on a different date by way of convertible note, whether the amount would be considered as deposit. See, one thing is that the rule specifies it should be on a single tranche. That means at one particular day. So if he has received more than 25 lakh rupees on a one single day, that is okay. But here he has received on two different dates, 20 lakhs and 10 lakhs. Put together it is 30 lakhs. No doubt it is more than 25 lakhs, but on different dates. So the law says that will it be considered as a deposit or not? So it is considered as a deposit because the aggregate amount was not received in a single tranche. So what are all the points that the student should have to write by way of convertible note? Amount of 25 lakh rupees or more. So then it will be considered as deposit since it was not received in single tranche. They can also ask the question, would your answer be different if the entire 30 lakhs was received on one single day? Then the answer differs, yes. So when it is more, it will not be considered as a deposit for a startup company. So the startup company, this is also important. Then, shall we move on to the next question? Okra Limited, a company having a net worth of 110 crores. So we'll write it here. Net worth 110 and turnover 450 crores. Wants to accept deposits from the public, referring to the provisions of the Companies Act, decide whether the above company can accept the deposits from the public. So he is testing what is an eligible company who can or which can accept deposits from the public. So what is the criterion? Net worth should be 100 crores and it is not less than minimum of 100 crores and turnover not less than 500 crores. That is minimum 500. So does it satisfy the criterion? Yes, it is more than 110. Is it or and? Either this or turnover. So you have to write the provision, a public company. So Okra Limited. So that is a public company because we all know that private limited company will end with the word private limited and public limited company will end with the word limited. So a public company having a net worth of not less than 100 crore rupees or a turnover of not less than 500 crore rupees and which has obtained the prior consent of the company in a general meeting by means of a special resolution. So all these things you should have to write in the examination. Prior consent by means of a special resolution and also filed the said resolution with the ROC. That should be done before making any invitation to the public for acceptance of deposits. So each one is a point. So I have put in a bulletin. So what can you conclude? You have to write first, write the provisions. So how to write the answer? First, provisions. Then conclusion. Why you have to conclude? They have used the word decide. For this, you should have to give the conclusion. Because the question says decide or advise. If it has specified, you have to write this points, this conclusion. So it's having a net worth of 110 crore, which is more, you can also add, which is more than the prescribed limit of 100 crores. And hence can accept deposits from the public. So this is how you should have to write. No, am I audible? Okay. Shall we proceed with the next concept? RS Limited received share application money of 50 lakhs on 1/6/2025. So let us put it here. $50 lakhs. But failed to allot the shares within the prescribed limit. No allotment. The share application of money of 5 lakhs received from Mr. Khanna was refunded by way of book adjustment towards the dues payable by him to the company on 30th July. So Khanna has given 5 lakhs to the company, which they have adjusted it towards dues. The company secretary of RS Limited reported to the board that the entire amount of 5 lakh, 50 lakh shall be deemed to be deposits as on 31/7/2025. And the company is required to comply with the provisions of the Companies Act applicable to acceptance of deposits in relation to this amount. You are required to examine. So you have to give importance to the words used in the question. You are required to examine the validity of the reporting of the company secretary in the light of the relevant provisions of the Companies Act. So this is an RTP question, January 26. So what is the concept? Can you put it in the chat? So is the company secretary correct? This is not a deposit as advance from customer below to 365 days. Okay, any other? We will see first how to write the answer. That also I will be explaining. So whether it is considered as a deposit or not, you have to specify if it is not considered as a deposit, why. So first write the provisions. So rule 2.C prescribes the instances where it is not considered as a deposit. So you can make a mention of rule 2.1C, right? Then there is an explanation given. If you go through the material, any amount received and held pursuant to an offer made in accordance with the provisions of the Companies Act towards subscription to any securities, including share application money or advance towards allotment of securities, pending allotment, so long as such amount is appropriated only against the amount due on allotment of the securities applied for. So each one is a point which should have to be specified. So this is the provision that one should have to write it. Then whatever is the explanation given, that you can explain further. If the securities cannot be allotted within 60 days from the date of receipt of application money or advance for such securities, and such application money or advance is not refunded within 50 days from the completion of 60 days. So students should be clear. It is 60 plus further from the completion of that 60 days, 15 days time limit is allowed. So totally 75 days it is allowed. So such amount shall be treated as deposit under these rules. Further, it is clarified that any adjustment for any other purpose, it is not treated as refund. So this is the general provision and explanation. Explanation to the provision. Then whenever they have given you an instance, you can say in the instant case or in the given question or from the facts of the case, you can write it that way. You can start it with in the instant case or from the facts stated or in the given case. You can start it like that. So this is, you are explaining the current provision. RS Limited has received 50 lakhs at share application money and it has failed to accept. You are just writing again the question from the question. Fact should be written. Right? Further, the company adjusted amount of 5 lakhs received from Kanna towards the dues payable. So now you are giving your conclusion based on the facts and provisions of law. Now you have to, this is your conclusion part. Or I can say analysis. So if such application money is not refunded within 15 days from the date of completion of 60 days, such amount shall be treated as deposit. In the question, prescribed limit of 60 days will end on 31/7. And the company has 15 more days to refund such application money. So it is 60, then another time limit to refund. So totally it is 75 days. Otherwise, after lapse of 15 days only, will be treated as a deposit. So the company secretary is not correct in treating the entire amount as deposits. And similarly, this cannot be treated as a refund. That is the amount which is adjusted towards the dues from Mr. Khanna. That is not a refund. So you have to explain the answer after reading the provision. First, provision, analysis, then your conclusion. Like this, you should have to write it. So first, provision. Whatever the act specifies, then you have to analyze with the situation given in the question. In third one, you have to conclude. So like this, you should have to write. And you can also write the points and bulletin like this in the examination. Because the examiner should know what you have read and understood. So that could be given. Now, Garv, is it clear? Shall we proceed with the next question? Dolls Toys Limited is having a net worth of 310 crores. Let me write it here. And share capital 200 crores. Free reserves and security premium 110 crores and turnover 300 crores. Wants to accept deposits from its public other than its members. See that it is a limited company. It is a limited company. So from other than members, it wants to accept. Referring to the provisions, state whether Dolls Toys Limited is permitted to accept deposits from public other than its members. So what could be your answer? And the second subdivision. It is further mentioned that Dolls Toys Limited is an urgent need of funds as one of his contract is on the verge of completion and it is promising to repay the deposits within a period of 4 months. Is Dolls Toys Limited permitted to accept the deposits with repayment period of 4 months? So here it is tested on the time limit. So first one, the question is whether it can accept the deposits from public other than its members. So what could be your answer in both the cases? Put it in the chat. Read the question. Okay, I could see the answer. So we'll see the answer. So in the first case, what is the rule? An eligible company. So we have shown that it is 100 crores net worth of 100 crores minimum or turnover of 500 crores minimum of not less than 500 crores. Then the company should have obtained by a special resolution and should have filed it with the registrar before making the invitation to the public. Right? So first you write that provision first. And eligible company, other than that, public companies can accept deposits from other person also. So can it accept deposits? Yes, it is an eligible company. So it can accept deposits. Does it satisfy the criterion? Net worth and turnover. So in the given question, how your answer should be? Has a net worth of 310 turnover and turnover of 300 crores. Since at least one condition is satisfied, it is this or turnover. And assuming that because they have not specified that it has obtained the prior consent or not, so you can also write it assuming that it has obtained the prior consent, it is permitted to accept the deposits from the public other than its members. So thus Dolls Toys Companies is an eligible company can accept public from other than the members. So this is for the first part. Then, for the second part, with repayment period of 4 months. So, what is the rule? Can you accept the deposit for 4 months? So, the rule says that which is lesser than 36 months or more than 36 months, you can't accept the deposit. But there is an exception if it does not exceed 10% of the aggregate of paid up share capital, free reserves, and securities premium account, and it is repayable only on or after 3 months, it can go in for that. So that is an exception. So this exception is tested here. So first write the rule. A company is not permitted to accept or renew deposits which is repayable on demand or in less than 6 months. The maximum period cannot exceed 36 months. So less than 6 months and more than 36 months, it is not allowed or repayable on demand. This is not allowed. But exception is there. So you have to specify this is the general rule. There is an exception to it and state the exception. What is that exception? It can accept the deposits earlier than 6 months, provided two conditions are satisfied. What is the first condition? It does not exceed 10% of aggregate of paid up share capital, free reserves, and securities premium account. This is one thing. And the second condition, both the conditions should be satisfied. Repayable only on or after 3 months. Less than 6 months, but on or after 3 months only. So if the question is saying 2 months, then it is not a valid. So this is the rule. Then conclusion you have to give. Hence, Dolly Limited is permitted to accept deposits with repayment period of 4 months in compliance to the stated provisions. So what is that 10% that it can accept deposits up to 310 crores. So net worth. Since the company cannot accept the deposit exceeding 10% of the aggregate of the paid up share capital, free reserves and security premium account, which is 310 crores. The total comes to 310 crores. You can accept 10% up to 10%. Then it comes to 31 crores. If the put together, the total comes to 310 crores. Then 10% of that, 31 crores it can accept. Is this clear? Then comment on the following. certain companies are exempted from the provisions of Section 73 of the Act. So, what are all the companies which are exempted? Exempt companies. 4 points you have to write. So, any banking company or a housing finance company or NBFC company or companies notified by the central government. Now, let me write it here. Banking company, non-banking financial company, or housing finance company, or any company notified by the central government. So these are the 4 points that you should have to write. These companies are exempted. Shall we proceed further? Now I can also give you a question like that. The clauses A to E of subsection 2 of section 73 with respect to issue of circular, filing the copy of such circular with the registrar, depositing of certain amount and certification as to no default committed shall not apply to a private company. Comment. Now, in the material, if you go through, it would have been highlighted in dark blue. That you should have to refer. So, whatever has been highlighted in the material in bold or in different colors, you have to read it twice, thrice. So, filing the copy of the thing. So, these are the essential conditions. So, comment. You have to specify the provisions and you have to explain in your own words how to write the answer for this. So you can just specify the provision first. Clauses A to E of subsection 2 of 73 with respect to issue of circular. This is first thing. Then filing the copy of that circular to the registrar. Then depositing the amount. Then certification. No default. Shall not apply to a private company. Which company? That you have to list. To which company it is not applicable. So list the conditions. So first thing, which accepts from its members monies not exceeding 100% of aggregate of paid up share capital. So it is not more than 100% of paid up share capital, free reserves and securities premium account. That is the first condition. Then second one, it is a startup. For 5 years from the date of its incorporation, which fulfills the following conditions, all of the following conditions. Namely, it is not an associate or a subsidiary company of any other company. That is, it is not a subsidiary company. Subsidiary company means a person whose majority of the share capital is held by another company. So it's not a subsidiary or an associate company. Or the borrowings is less than twice the paid up capital, or 50 crores, whichever is lower. So what is meant by that? Borrowing is less than twice paid up share capital, or 50 crores, whichever is less. Whichever is less. If this is 50 crores is less, that is the limit. If this less than twice the paid up capital, suppose the paid up capital is 10 crores, twice the paid up capital will be 20 crores. So then 20 crores will be the limit. So whichever is less, that you should have to consider. And it should not have defaulted in repayment of borrowings. So these three conditions should have to be satisfied. So this is the first condition. Second condition, borrowings. And third condition, no default or not defaulted in repayment of borrowings. It should be cumulatively satisfied, fulfills all of the following conditions, and which is not an associate or subsidiary company, then borrowings. Then the company has not defaulted. So let me put it this way. Then second one is borrowings. This I will put it as so these three conditions should have to be satisfied. Third is startup. This is the third condition. And not only that, it should have to file the form DPT3. With the registry. Is this clear? So in law, you should have to write it properly. First, the provisions, what are all the conditions. And when they have given comment, you have to specify any exceptions or any conditions. You have to bring out all the facts in the answers. We shall proceed with the next question. Arpit, a member of Swapnil Traders Private Limited, deposited 1 lakh with this company on 1st April 2024. What is its earliest repayment date and latest repayment date? So this is just for a revision. I have taken this question. It could also be asked in MCQ, or they can ask it in 2 marks as a short question. Then if Swapnil Traders Private Limited aggregate of its paid up capital, free reserves and securities premium account is 2 crores, can it accept deposit for a period of less than 6 months? So this is an example sum or example given in material in your study material. Right? The questions could be framed this way. So just a practice for you. How you should have to write it. So not earlier than 6 months and not more than 36 months. So what is the earliest repayment? It has accepted on 1st April 2024. So 6 months from that. So April, May, June, July, August and September. It ends in September. So 30th September 2024. This is the earliest repayment it can do because 6 months, more than 6 months, it should have to hold it. Then maximum within which it should have to repay. That is 36 months. So 36 months will end on 24, but 36 is 3 years, right? So 2024, then 2025, this is first year. 2026, 26, this is first year. This is second year. This is the third set of 12 months. So on or before 31st March, it should have to repay. The 36 months ends on so before that, it should have to repay. It should not exceed. It cannot repay after 31st March 2027. So how you should have to write the answer? For the first part, Arpit, the member of Swapnil Traders Private Limited, deposit. First, you have to write that question from what you infer from that in your own words. With this company on 1st April 2024, the earliest repayment date shall be 30th September 2024, and the latest repayment date shall be 31st March 2027. Thus, the tenure will range between 6 months and 36 months. That you should have to write it. Then for the second part, if Swapnil Traders Private Limited aggregate of its paid up share capital, free reserves and securities premium is 2 crores. So 2 crores, what is the provision? It can accept up to 10% of 2 crores can be accepted. So it can maximum raise up to 20 crores. You have to write maximum of up to. So it can raise 10 crores, 15 crores. Maximum limit is 20 crores. Whose repayment tenure can be less than 6 months, but such tenure cannot be less than 3 months because we read in that exception. And also it should have to fulfill the condition. So it cannot be less than 3 months because it is a private limited company. The exception is given. So it has got an exception of accepting deposits earlier than 6 months, but not less than 3 months. So in between, it can accept the thing. So less than 6 months, you have to bring out the exception. Then, is there any penal provisions for failure to repay deposit on maturity with respect to acceptance of deposits from public by eligible companies? Yes, definitely there is a penalty, right? 18% per annum. So for the overdue period. So you have to write it this way. In case the company, or you can write if the company, fails, or in case the company fails to repay deposits, both secured and unsecured, on maturity, after they are claimed, then it should have to pay a penal interest of 18% per annum for the overdue amount. So 18% per annum. That is the penalty, but you have to write fully. Failure to repay on maturity, both secured and unsecured, after they are claimed, then penalty is 18% per annum for the overdue. State the limits up to which an eligible company is permitted to accept deposits from members and other than its members. Also state the limit for an eligible government company. So this is a practice question which I have created. So questions can be asked like this also. So maximum amount of deposits from its members, maximum is 10% of the aggregate of paid up capital, free reserves and securities premium account. That is the maximum limit from its members. From other than its members, it can accept up to 25% of the aggregate of its paid up share capital, free reserves and securities premium. So from its members, maximum 10%. From non-members or other than its members, 25%. For government company, it is 35%. So such a company is permitted to accept or renew any deposit together with the amount of outstanding deposits. See here, one point you should have to know, put together existing plus new or fresh deposits should not exceed 35%. These both things you have to total. That should be maximum 35%. In all the cases, existing and together with outstanding, that you should have to bring it in the answer. Together with its outstanding deposits. So here from non-members together with the amount of outstanding deposits, excluding deposits from members. So these two points you should have to write. So 10%, 25%, and 35% in case of a eligible government company. Members. So this you should be clear with. We shall also some of the case studies and MCQs so that clarity will be there in the provisions. Now this is a case study with the various options given. We will see one after the other. Silver Private Limited. So it is a public limited company. Having its registered office at Gurugram, Haryana. It is registered with a share capital of 10 crores divided into 1 crore equity shares of 10 each. The paid up share capital of the company is 50 lakhs divided into 5 lakh equity shares of 10. So here he has given this 5 lakh, 50 lakhs. The company is manufacturing rubber parts to be used in manufacturing parts of passenger vehicles. Mr. Raj and Pavan are directors of the company. Mr. Siddharth, son of Raj, on January 8, 2022, has advanced a loan of 50 lakhs at an interest rate of 8% per annum, and the loan is expected to be paid after a period of 36 months. Silver Private Limited intends to accept deposits of 60 lakhs from its members. So it is planning to accept a deposit of 60 lakhs from members. Here the son of director has advanced a loan of 50 lakhs to the company at an interest rate of 8%. The financial particulars are as below mentioned: paid up capital, free reserves, security premium, borrowing from banks 65 lakhs, turnover 200 lakhs. As on the date of acceptance of deposits, the company has not defaulted in repayment of the borrowings along with interest thereon. With respect to loan advances by Mr. Siddharth, that is the son of the director, Mr. Raj, to Silver Private Limited Company, whether the same can be classified as deposit or not. Now you have to specify. The options are: it will be treated as a deposit as the loan advanced by Siddharth, who is neither a director nor a holder. Second option, it will be treated as deposit as the loan is given by a relative of the director. Third option, it will not be treated as Mr. Siddharth has given loan to the company at an interest rate of 8% per annum. Fourth option, it will not be treated as deposit if Mr. Siddharth gives a written declaration to the effect that loan is advanced by him from his own source of funds, not borrowings or accepting loans or deposits from others, and the company shall disclose the details money so accepted in the goods report. What should be the answer? Put it in the comment. Put it in the chat. Is somehow given the answer. See, it will not be treated as deposit if the director discloses in the board's report by giving a declaration, and it is money is advanced from own source, not from borrowings. Concept is the company should not use that no way connected. So declaration is important. So D is the correct answer. It will not be treated as the deposit. Second question. With respect to acceptance of deposits from his members, which of the below mentioned statement is correct? Silver Private Limited cannot accept deposits of more than paid up share capital, which is 50 lakhs. Silver Private Limited can accept deposits of 60 from its members as it is less than twice of its paid up share capital or 50 crores, whichever is less. Third point, a third option, Silver Private Limited cannot accept deposits of more than highest the aggregate of paid up share capital and free reserves, which is 7 lakhs, and borrowing, which is 65 lakhs. Then fourth option, Private Limited cannot accept deposits of more than aggregate of paid up share capital and free reserves, which is 70 lakhs. What should be the answer? You specify your answer in the chat. seat is less than twice the paid up share capital, right? So it can accept deposits up to the twice of its paid up share capital or 50 crores, whichever is less. So that question is tested, that point is tested. So the least of these two. So 50 crores or this. So option B is the correct answer. I cannot accept deposits of more than paid capital. This is wrong. Then Silver Private Limited cannot accept deposits of more than higher of paid capital and free reserves. That is not more than the aggregate of its paid up share capital and free reserves. It is a private limited company, right? So you have to read the question whether it is a private limited company, public limited company, and then this exception is there. So that is tested. Then third question. Which of the following statements is correct in respect of 65 lakhs availed to the company? Silver Private Limited needs to create and register the charge within 30 days from the date of sanction of the loan. It is not required to create and register the charge as the loan is against the personal guarantee of directors. Needs to create and register charge within 15 days from the date of sanction of the loan, or needs to create and register charge within 60 days from the date of sanction of the loan. So the answer is it is only the personal guarantee. So they need not register a charge. Anyway, I'll be dealing with this. So this is a combination of both the acceptance of deposits and registration of charges they have asked in the same case scenario. If only against the personal guarantee of the directors, no charge is given. No charge is required to be created. So those are the answers. Then, to the company's acceptance of deposit rules, which amount is not considered as deposit? Amounts received from foreign government, amount received from international bank, amount received from multilateral financial institutions, all of them. So you have to go what are all not considered as deposits, what are all considered as deposits, and points are given. So based on that MCQ we asked, so all the above is the not considered as deposits. Then company shall accept or renew deposit is repayable on demand or on receiving notice with this period of time. It is 9 months and more or 3 months, then 6 months or more than 36 months, 1 month period of time. So this is a fairly big question. Put it in the chat. You all know the answer is C. The next question. ABC Publications Limited accepted deposits to the public to the tune of 70 lakhs on 1st May 2021 for a period of 36 months at an interest rate of 10% per annum. The repayment will be on 30th April 2024. It has complied with all the statutory requirements for acceptance of deposits by a public company. One of the depositors, Mr. Y, was in urgent need of money as his son wanted to pursue his higher education abroad. His total deposit in ABC Publications Limited was 10 lakhs. On 1st June 2022, he sent his request to the company asking for premature repayment of deposit along with this interest. Another deposit, Mr. Yu had deposited 6 lakhs in his name. On 18th September 2022, he sent an application to the company to change the name of his deposit and make it a joint hold in the names of himself, his wife, and 2 children. The company is contemplating the request received from its depositors. See, the point you notice that maximum number of joint holders is 3. The person and 2 others. You have to remember that. Then the further question. In addition to the deposit received from the public, the company also raised funds by amount received from a public sector and by issue of bonds and debentures and amounts against issued commercial papers which are issued according to the guidelines issued by RBI. On the basis of the given facts and by applying the applicable provisions of the Companies Act 2013 and the rules therein, choose the correct answer for the following. Advice ABC Limited ABC Publications Limited regarding the amount that can be repaid to Mr. Y. It is a pre-closure, right, or premature closure before the date. So on 1st May, he has deposited and it wants it for the repayment would be made on 30th April. So May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. On 1st June, he has asked. I stand corrected. So from May 21 to May 22. So here 12 months and May 22 also you have to pay. So for 13 months you have to pay the interest. So the company cannot make premature repayment of deposits. No, it's possible. So this is wrong. The company can prematurely repay along with interest for a period of 13 months at the rate of 10%. No, it can with the interest of 9% for a period of 9 months. It is not for a period of 11 months. This is wrong. Answer is C. And advise ABC Publications regarding the request of Mr. U to include his name. So he wants his name himself, that is Mr. U, his wife, and two children. The total is 4. But you cannot have a joint holding in more than 3. So the deposits can be held only by you and 2 members. You cannot change the deposit. It can change. No, here it is only 2, but allowed is 3. The deposits can be held because it is more than 3, so it is wrong. The deposits can be held jointly by you and any 2 members. Okay. The next question. The company is required to deposit on or and each at least percentage of the amount of its deposit maturing during the following year and kept a scheduled bank in a separate account to be as this. So what is the answer? The chat. What is the correct answer? See, we paid on or before 30th April. At least minimum 20% of the amount of its deposit should be kept in the deposit payment reserve. So D is the correct. An alien company, government company is permitted to accept or renew deposits from its members, including such other deposits outstanding as on the date of acceptance or renewal, up to is it 20%, 35%, 100%, none of the above. So it is an eligible government company, so it is permitted up to maximum is 35%. So this is uh, for a company from its members. This is other than members. B is the correct answer. That members and other than members also you should have to remember. These are the limits. So that has not been specified. Even the other options could be these percentage. Shall we take a break and then we will meet? Shall we take a break? Yes. continue with the registration of charges. So what is a charge that we have to understand? So it is an interest or lien on which you can create a charge on any property of the undertakings, property or assets, or any of its undertakings also. And you should have to give it as a security to the lender, create a charge, file it with the Argos, and it includes a mortgage also. Mortgage by deposit of title deeds. You are not physically giving the property, but only the title is deposited. That is the mortgage. Then a very commonly tested question is crystallization of floating charge. Now there are two types of charge, fixed charge and floating charge. Now when floating charge becomes a fixed charge, that is only tested. So when the creditor enforces the security due to the breach or violation, if the company has violated the conditions or it has ceased to continue the business, then it is liquidated. Third point. Then he can enforce the security and the floating charge becomes the fixed charge. On all the assets available on that date. So that conversion of floating charge into fixed charge, that is called as crystallization. In floating charge, the company can use the assets, say on working capital, like inventory or accounts receivable, it will be created. They can sell the goods and do it. But once it becomes a fixed charge, they cannot use the asset. That is the concept. They cannot sell. Now we move on to the next concept. Is there any extension of time limit for registration of charge? Now the answer is to be given for both before 2/1, I'm sorry, 2/11, 2018, and after that, what is the scenario which we are doing? So if it is before 2/11/2008, it is only 30 days plus additional 30 days if it is not given, if not registered within the 30 days, you can register within 300 days. Of course, you have to pay the additional fee. Now the situation is, if it is not registered, see here, you should have to register the charge within 30 days. If it is not registered within the first 30 days, next 30 days, that is within the 60 days from creation of charge with additional fees. Then next 30 days, if it is not registered, you can register it with a further period of 60 days with ad valorem fees. So 30, 30, 30. That is the concept. Next question. Shaman Private Limited on 3rd April 2024 obtained a 30 lakhs working capital loan by offering its stocks and accounts receivable as security from a financial institution. Is it required to create a charge for working capital in accordance with the provisions of the Companies Act? State the provisions with regard to extension of time and procedure for registration in case the above charge was not registered within 30 days of its creation. So, what are all the important points that should be there in the answer that we will see? So, first you have to define what is a charge. So, first one is definition. Then, whenever a company borrows, it is required to create a charge on such property in favor of the lender. So it is going to take 30 lakh working capital loan by offering its stock and receivables. So it can create a charge on its stock and receivables. And up to within 30 days, it should have to file the charge with the ROC. If it is not filed, then it has got within 60 days, another 30 days. So in that case, it should have to pay additional fee. Even if it is not registered within that 16 days, within the next 30 days, it should have to pay ad valorem. Ad valorem means on the value. You have to specify within a period of 60 days of its creation on payment of additional fees. Then even if it is not filed within that 60 days from the date of creation, it can register it within the next 30 days. But if it wants to extend, then it has to make an application to the registrar in the prescribed form, and why it did not file, the reason should have to be given, and sufficient cause should have to be shown to the registrar. Only then the registrar will allow registration of charge within the extended period. So if the company is going to file within 60 days from the date of creation, only additional fee. So 60 days, it is additional fee. Whereas within the next 30 days, within 90 days means it has to pay ad valorem. So depending on the delay, either additional fees or ad valorem fees will be payable by the company. That is the concept. Then what are all the consequences for non-registration of charge? Can you put it in the chat? Yes, we will be seeing this. It should have to be duly registered. And it is void against the liquidator and the creditors. But it should be repayment that is not affected, and priority is lost. If the subsequent lender gets a charge created, then he will get priority over this company. This will happen if two companies or two lenders have lent the money and charge has been created on the property. This example is a good example for you to understand the concept. It is given in the material. Anyway, I'll recap it once again. Bank A advanced 1 crore to Vasudha Medicos. The charge was created by deposit of title deeds on 1st June. The company did not register the charge within 30 days. It registered the charge on 12th August. Right? Then subsequently, the charge was registered on 12th August after payment of advance fees and providing sufficient costs because it has gone more than 60 days. In the meantime, bank advanced 2 crores to Vasudha Medicos against the security on 18th June. And it was registered on 26th June. So it was registered before the first charge was registered. Right? This is a fresh charge, this is a fresh charge. Because the lender is different. Excuse me. So what happens in this case? If Vasudha Medicals goes into liquidation, who will get priority? Whether Bank A or Bank B? The answer is Bank B because it has registered before, it is only subsequent registration. That is the meaning for the charge holder loses priority. Because till such date it was not registered. And the property realizes only 2 crore. So Bank B it has registered, so it will get its entire 2 crores, but Bank A will not get. So Bank B gets priority over Bank A. This is a very important concept. Why it was not till 12th August, it was not registered. So the charge holder loses priority because Bank B has registered before Bank A. It was registered on 26th June, whereas Bank A has registered only on 12th August. So in case of liquidation, Bank B gets priority over Bank A. Even though the charge was created before, but it was registered only very lately. So the subsequent person, the Bank B, acquires a priority over Bank A. That is the concept. That was because of non-registration within that time limit. We shall move on to the next question. Picure Limited, a manufacturing company, is in the process of expanding its operations. To support this expansion, Picure Limited has acquired a plot of land along with the buildings on it from ABC Limited, another company in the same industry. The property, however, is subject to an existing charge created in favor of a bank as security for a loan taken by ABC Limited. The charge has been registered by ABC Limited at that time. The directors of PQR Limited are of the opinion that as the charge for the property was already created, there is no further obligation to be fulfilled from the side of PQR Limited. So the acquiring company acquired company or PQR has acquired ABC Limited. So ABC Limited has created a charge. So PQR Limited thinks that it need not create a charge. After negotiations, the bank as the charge holder consents to the sale and transfer of the property to PQR Limited with the condition that PQR Limited must register a new charge over the acquired property as security for its own loan obligations. Advise whether the contention of directors of PQR Limited is correct. Give your answer in terms of the provisions of the Companies Act. So finally, you should have to conclude. That is the meaning for this advice after giving the provisions. What are all the provisions? Let us see. A charge has to be created on obtaining a loan. That is called as creation of a charge. If any terms are modified or any additional security is given, that is a modification of charge. If it has been paid in full, that is called as satisfaction of charge. So a company acquiring a property subject to a charge or any modification in terms or conditions or the extent or operation of any charge registered under that section. If already a charge is created, registered, and sold with the permission with the holder of the charge, then it is the duty of the company acquiring to get the charge registered. So now PQ has acquired ABC. So ABC is already has been created. Now it is duty of PQR Limited to register the charge. It is the duty of the acquiring company to register the charge. In its name, it has to be created. So must create a fresh charge. Upon acquisition, it is PQR Limited's responsibility to ensure the previous charge is effectively discharged and that the new charge is registered in its name. So previously it was in the name of ABC. Now ABC, that should be discharged, and PQR in its name it should be created. And hence the contention of directors is not correct. Since they have acquired, they should have to register in their name. Now, shall we proceed further? We shall also go through some questions from LLP Act. Now, Limited Liability Partnership Act. They have got limited liability and there should be a designated partners. We will see the provisions one after the other using the questions asked in the examination. What do you mean by small limited liability partnership? This is actually a definition which can be tested. The contribution does not exceed 25 lakh rupees or such high amount not exceeding 5 crore rupees as may be prescribed, or if the turnover as per the statement of accounts does not exceed 40 lakh rupees or not exceeding 50 crore rupees as may be prescribed. So you have to write the definition, bring out the definition, what it is, and explain the points. How to specify the limits. Who can become partners in LLP? So an individual can be a partner, or even LLPs could be a partner, a company. Then incorporated LLP incorporated outside India. Then foreign companies. Cooperative society, no. And corporation sole can also not become a partner in LLP. See, for foreign companies, they have to comply with the FDI compliances, foreign direct investment. Who are all the minimum number of partners, or write a note on minimum number of partners in an LLP. Can have at least two partners. If they carry on the business for more than 6 months, by after reduction of the partners, that is, if it is reduced less than two and they continue for more than 6 months, then the person who's the partner, who's the continuing partner, if he is aware of the fact that he alone is the partner, then he is personally liable. Because within 6 months, you have to appoint another partner. So his liability is personal liability. Explain designated partner. So each LLP should have at least two designated partners. They should be individuals. At least one of them should be a resident in India. If all the partners are body corporates, then at least two individuals should be nominated as designated as partners. What is the criteria for resident in India? He should have stayed for at least 20 days in India. If the incorporation specifies who are to be designated partners, then such persons are designated partners. It states that each of the partners is to be designated partners, then every partner shall be a designated partner. So a partner may become a designated partner and a partner may cease to be a designated partner. What are the conditions to be satisfied? The first one, prior consent should be given. It should be in such form and manner, it should be filed. And the LLP should have to file the particulars of individual within 30 days. Even the change should have to be intimated. And the designated partner should have to obtain designated partner identification number from the central government. So since the question is explained, you have to explain fully depending on the marks. You can, if it is asked for 2 marks, you have to explain it accordingly. The first portion alone is sufficient. If it is 6 marks, then you have to explain fully all these details. Then, what are the effects of registration of LLP? See, by registering it can sue and be sued. It can acquire, hold, develop, or dispose of a property. That property could be movable or immovable, tangible or intangible. It can have a common seal. It is not mandatory. If it chooses, it can have one. And any doing and suffering other acts and things as a body corporate will lawfully do. Can be done by the LLP. So that is the concept with registration of LLP. Whatever benefits, whatever is applicable to a body corporate, that also applies to an LLP. We will take this question. Bright Consultants LLP is facing temporary financial difficulties and proposes a compromise with its unsecured creditors for payment of 70% of the outstanding dues in full settlement. An application is made by one of the partners seeking directions to convene a meeting of creditors. The tribunal orders the meeting to be held. At the meeting, creditors representing 75% in value voted in favor. Of the proposed compromise. The LLP thereafter approaches the tribunal for sanction of the scheme. However, the LLP fails to disclose in its application that an investigation proceeding is pending against it under the LLP Act 2008. After obtaining the tribunal sanction order, the LLP does not file the order with the registrar within 30 days. A dissenting creditor challenges the validity of the compromise on these grounds. Examine. See, when they ask you the word, or when you find this in the question, examine as per the provisions of the Limited Liability Partnership Act, you should have to specify all the provisions, pros, cons, limitations, whatever is the condition, everything should have to be analyzed and specified in the answer. Whether the compromise can be sanctioned by the tribunal despite non-disclosure of pending investigation proceedings, whether the compromise becomes effective and binding if the tribunal's order is not filed with the registrar within the prescribed time. Now, what does the rule says? If the majority representing 3/4 in value agree to the compromise, then it is valid, right? So you have to start the answer like this, explaining the provisions. Majority represent three-fourths of value of the creditors or partners. So three-fourths is 75%, right? If three-fourths or of a majority representing three-fourths in value agree to any compromise or arrangement, the compromise or arrangement shall, if sanctioned, be binding by order, be binding on all creditors or all the partners, and also on the limited liability partnership, or in case of wound up by the of the LLP on the liquidator and contributories. So for them it is binding. For whom it is binding? Binding on all partners, LLP, liquidator, then on the contributories. Of course, for the creditors. Then what is the restriction? Provided that no order shall be made unless the tribunal is satisfied that the limited liability partnership or any person by whom an application has been made has disclosed to the tribunal by affidavit or otherwise all material facts relating to the limited liability partnership, including the latest financial position and the pendency of any investigation proceedings in relation to the limited liability partnership. An order shall be filed within 30 days and shall have effect only after it is so filed. So in that present case, it has failed to disclose the pendency of the investigation proceedings. That disclosure is mandatory. Therefore, the tribunal cannot validly sanction the compromise unless full and true disclosure of material facts is made. So here, full disclosure is not made. All material facts. This point definitely should be there in your answer. This is with regards to the first subdivision. Then the objection raised by the dissenting creditor. Dissenting creditor means he is objecting to it. Is legally sustainable, cannot sanction the compromise without disclosure of all material facts, including pending investigation. In this case, it has failed to file the order within 30 days. Accordingly, even if the tribunal sanctions the compromise it will not become the effective or binding on the parties discussed here until the order is duly filed with the registrar. So it does not take effect unless the order is filed with the registrar within 30 days. A very important point. Shall we proceed further? We will take this question. Raman, Sita, and Mohan are partners in an LLP firm, RSM and Company, engaged in consultancy services. As per the LLP agreement, profits and losses are shared equally. Raman, requiring funds for personal purpose, transfers 40% of his share of profits to his friend Arjun. After the transfer, Arjun claims that he is entitled to participate in the management of RSM and Company. Since Raman has transferred part of his rights, he is deemed to be disassociated as a partner of the LLP. You are required to advise with reference to the LLP Act whether Raman's partial transfer of rights will lead to disassociation or dissolution of LLP. That is the first part. Second part, whether Arjun is entitled to participate. See, the rule is a partner can transfer a portion, wholly or in part. So we will see what has to be written. The rights of the partner to a share in profits shall be transferable either wholly in or in part. The transfer does not itself cause disassociation. Or a dissolution. The transfer does not also entitle the transferee to conduct or to participate in the conduct or management of the activities. So here Arjun has got no right to associate himself or he cannot take part in the management or conduct of the activities. So in the given question, so this is the provisions. You have to specify the provisions. Up to this, it is provision. What you know, you have to explain it. Then the situation in the question. You have to analyze. So your answer should be, the question is, you are required to advise. So first, you have to specify whether Raman's partial transfer of rights will lead to disassociation or dissolution of the partnership. You can say, you can also write the answer this way. No transfer of rights does not lead to disassociation or dissolution and winding up of LLP. Therefore, Raman's partial transfer will not lead to disassociation or dissolution. You have to explain it like this. Then, second question, whether Arjun is entitled to participate. You can write it as no, the transferee or assignee is not entitled to participate pursuant to the transfer of rights. Therefore, Arjun cannot participate or not entitled. The question is entitled to participate. So Arjun is not entitled to participate. In the management of RSM company. You have to write it this way. So whether if the question has been asked, you have to answer it yes or no. So it's better to write it like this. For this, marks will be given. Any doubts? Is this clear? So we have seen in today's session acceptance of deposits, registration of charges, and limited liability partnership act. Is that points clear? The questions which I have discussed? And you have to read the question carefully. What is the question asked? If it asks, explain. You have to explain the provisions coming. Then your analysis you can give, your views, the thing. Then examine the statement. Then you have to give the pros and the cons. Then definition. If they ask you to define charge, you have to give exactly the charge definition. Then illustrate with examples. Then you have to give example, your own examples or that which is given in the material. You have to explain that. So you have to read what is asked. Whether it is a comment on question, elucidate or list. They can ask you or state contents of prospectus. Or they can say list of conditions. Then you have to specify the condition 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that you have to specify. Briefly explain. Or if they say elucidate, then in simple terms, shortly, you have to explain. You go through the RTP, MTP, suggested answers, previous year suggested answers, read the question, and then read the answer. What is the verb that is used in the question and how the answer has been framed? That will give you an idea as to how to answer the questions. Even though the point is the same, it should be answered based on the question. So that is very important. So clear? I could see a lot of students. Is it clear? Gayatri, Barna Mandal, Abhijit. So then we will wind off the session. If there is no doubt, all the best. Have a good day. Yes. Yes, over. Thank you. Thank you.